Imagine walking into the biggest football tournament on earth, with almost nobody believing you had a chance. The experts dismissed you. The bookmakers ignored you. Even some fans thought simply reaching the knockout stage would be considered a success. Now imagine standing just weeks later, after defeating some of the biggest football nations on the planet and making millions of people question everything they thought they knew about the World Cup. This isn't the story of Brazil. It's not Argentina, not France. This is the incredible story of Morocco, a team that refused to accept its limits and went on one of the greatest underdog runs in football history. By the end of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, the Atlas Lions hadn't just won football matches. They had inspired an entire continent, united millions of supporters around the world, and written their names into football history forever. But to understand how this miracle happened, we have to go back to where it all began. For decades, African nations had produced some of football's greatest players. George Weah, Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o, Yaya Touré, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane. These stars dazzled fans every week at Europe's biggest clubs. Yet when the FIFA World Cup arrived, African teams often struggled to make deep runs. Many came close. Cameroon amazed the world in 1990. Senegal stunned defending champions France in 2002 and reached the quarterfinals. Ghana came within inches of becoming the first African nation to reach a World Cup semi-final in 2010. But every dream ended the same way. Heartbreak. As the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar approached, few people believed Morocco would be different. Yes, they had talented players competing for some of Europe's biggest clubs. Achraf Hakimi was one of the world's best attacking fullbacks. Hakim Ziyech had the creativity to change a game in a single moment. Youssef En-Nesyri was a dangerous striker. Sofyan Amrabat had become one of the toughest midfielders in Europe. And goalkeeper Bono, known to fans as Bono, had built a reputation as one of La Liga's most reliable shot stoppers. Still, talent alone doesn't win World Cups. Morocco's preparations had been far from perfect. Just months before the tournament, the national team changed coaches. Walid Regragui took charge only a short time before the World Cup began. Normally, changing managers so close to such a major tournament would be considered a huge risk. Many believed Morocco wouldn't have enough time to build chemistry or establish a clear tactical identity. But Regragui had a different vision. He wanted discipline, unity, sacrifice. Every player defending together. Every player attacking together. No superstars. No egos. Just one team fighting for one dream. It was a philosophy built on trust rather than fame. And soon, the entire football world would see the results. When the World Cup draw was announced, Morocco's challenge looked enormous. They were placed alongside Croatia, Belgium, and Canada. Croatia had reached the World Cup final in 2018. Belgium had spent years ranked among the world's best national teams and featured stars like Kevin De Bruyne and Thibaut Courtois. Canada entered the tournament full of confidence after an impressive qualifying campaign. Many analysts predicted Morocco would finish third or even fourth in the group. Advancing to the knockout stage seemed unlikely, but inside the Moroccan camp, nobody cared about outside predictions. The players believed something special was possible. Their mission was simple: fight for every ball, defend every attack, take every opportunity. The World Cup was about to begin. Morocco's opening match came against Croatia, the runners-up from the previous World Cup. Facing Luka Modric and a squad filled with experienced international stars was a huge test. The atmosphere inside Al Bayt Stadium was electric. Thousands of Moroccan supporters filled the stands with flags, chants, and endless belief. From the opening whistle, Morocco surprised everyone. Instead of sitting back in fear, they pressed aggressively, closed down space, and defended with remarkable organization. Every Croatian attack was met by determined defending. Every loose ball sparked another Moroccan counterattack. Although chances were limited, Morocco looked composed and confident. By the final whistle, the score remained 0-0. To many people, it looked like a simple draw. But inside Morocco's dressing room, it felt much bigger. They had just earned a valuable point against one of the strongest teams in the tournament. More importantly, they had proven they belonged on football's biggest stage. Confidence began to grow. The dream was still alive. The next challenge seemed even harder. Belgium, a team filled with world-class players. Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois. Many experts expected Belgium's experience and quality to be too much for Morocco. For almost an hour, the match remained tense. Belgium controlled possession. Morocco stayed patient, disciplined, focused. Every player worked tirelessly. Then came the breakthrough. In the 73rd minute, Abdelhamid Sabiri delivered a stunning free kick that slipped through the Belgian defense and into the net. The stadium exploded. Moroccan fans could hardly believe what they were witnessing. Belgium pushed desperately for an equalizer, but Morocco refused to break. Every tackle mattered. Every clearance mattered. Every second brought them closer to history. Then, deep into stoppage time, Zakaria Aboukhlal finished a brilliant counterattack to score Morocco's second goal. Final score: Morocco 2, Belgium 0. The football world was stunned. Headlines appeared everywhere. The underdogs had defeated one of the tournament favorites. Suddenly, people weren't asking whether Morocco could survive the group. They were asking how far this team could actually go. One final obstacle remained: Canada. Victory would almost certainly secure qualification for the knockout stage. Pressure filled the stadium. History was within reach. Morocco started brilliantly. Within minutes, Hakim Ziyech capitalized on a defensive mistake to score the opening goal. The confidence flowing through the team became impossible to ignore. Soon after, Youssef En-Nesyri doubled the lead with a clinical finish. Canada continued fighting and eventually pulled a goal back, but Morocco never lost their composure. Their defensive organization remained outstanding. Every player sacrificed for the badge. When the referee blew the final whistle, the celebrations began. Morocco had finished top of the group, ahead of both Croatia and Belgium. Almost nobody had predicted it. They had conceded just one goal, and that came from an own goal. The Atlas Lions had transformed from overlooked outsiders into one of the biggest stories of the tournament. Across Morocco, celebrations filled the streets. Across Africa, millions celebrated with them. Across the football world, fans who loved underdog stories found a new team to support. But the hardest challenges were still ahead. The knockout stage was waiting, and standing in Morocco's path was one of football's greatest giants: Spain. The world was about to witness a match that would become one of the most unforgettable moments in World Cup history. Finishing at the top of the group was already an incredible achievement. But now, the tournament entered a completely different stage. There were no second chances, no room for mistakes. One bad game, and Morocco's dream would be over. Standing in their way was a football giant: Spain, a nation that had won the 2010 FIFA World Cup, 3 European championships, and built one of the greatest footballing identities in history. Their famous tiki-taka style had dominated world football for years. Fast passing, perfect movement, endless possession. Most experts believed Morocco's incredible run would end here. After all, Spain had some of the most technically gifted players in the world. On paper, the gap between the two teams looked enormous. But football has never been played on paper, and Morocco had already proven that. From the opening whistle, Spain controlled possession exactly as expected. Pass after pass, move after move, the ball seemed glued to Spanish feet. The statistics quickly became unbelievable. Spain completed hundreds of passes, while Morocco patiently waited for opportunities to counterattack. Many teams would have panicked. Morocco didn't. Walid Regragui had prepared his players perfectly. Instead of chasing the ball, they defended together. Every player knew his role. When Spain attacked, Morocco defended as one. When Morocco regained possession, they attacked with incredible speed. Achraf Hakimi burst down the right side whenever space appeared. Hakim Ziyech searched for dangerous passes. Sofyan Amrabat covered nearly every blade of grass in midfield, breaking up attacks before they became dangerous. Behind them stood goalkeeper Bono. Calm, confident, always ready. Minute after minute, Spain grew frustrated. Despite having almost all of the possession, they struggled to create clear chances. Morocco's defensive wall refused to crack. The match ended 90 minutes. Still 0-0. Extra time began. The pressure became almost unbearable. One mistake could end everything. Spain attacked again. Morocco defended again. Bodies flew into tackles. Players collapsed with exhaustion. Every challenge felt like a final. After 120 minutes, still no goals. Everything would now be decided by penalties. Penalty shootouts are unlike anything else in football. Months, sometimes years, of preparation can come down to a single kick. Millions watched around the world. Inside the stadium, thousands of Moroccan fans held their breath. Spain stepped forward first. Then, Bono produced magic. He saved. Spain missed again. The pressure grew heavier with every penalty. Morocco stayed calm. Every successful kick pushed them closer to history. Finally, Achraf Hakimi walked toward the penalty spot. The pressure couldn't have been greater. One goal, and Morocco would eliminate one of football's greatest nations. Hakimi looked at the goalkeeper, took a short run, and with unbelievable confidence, he chipped the ball gently down the middle. A Panenka. In the biggest moment of his career, the ball crossed the line. The stadium exploded. Players sprinted toward Hakimi. Fans cried. Coaches celebrated. History had been made. Morocco became the first African team since Ghana in 2010 to reach the World Cup quarterfinals, and only the fourth African nation ever to get that far. The impossible suddenly felt possible. But an even greater challenge was waiting. Portugal. Portugal arrived full of confidence. They had just defeated Switzerland 6-1. Their squad was packed with stars. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, João Felix, Pepe, Ruben Dias, and of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest footballers in history. Although Ronaldo did not start the match, his presence alone added even more drama. Most predictions favored Portugal. Many believed Morocco's fairy tale had finally reached its ending. But inside the Moroccan dressing room, nobody believed the story was over. Walid Regragui reminded his players of one simple message: fight for each other. That had brought them this far. That would carry them again. Portugal attacked from the very beginning. Morocco defended with incredible determination. Every tackle was celebrated. Every interception felt like a goal. The atmosphere inside Al Thummama Stadium was unforgettable. Thousands of Moroccan supporters created an ocean of red. Every clearance brought louder cheers. Then, the breakthrough arrived. Just before halftime, Yahya Adiatala delivered a perfect cross into the penalty area. Youssef En-Nesyri timed his run perfectly. He jumped higher than everyone else. For one brief moment, it looked as though he was floating in the air. His powerful header flew into the back of the net. Morocco led 1-0. The stadium erupted. Players embraced one another. But everyone knew the hardest part had only just begun. 45 minutes still remained. The second half felt endless. Portugal threw everything forward. Cristiano Ronaldo entered the match. Every attack became more dangerous. Every minute lasted forever. Bono made brilliant saves. The defenders blocked countless shots. Sofyan Amrabat seemed to appear everywhere. Sliding tackles, last-second interceptions, relentless energy. Even as injuries began to pile up, Morocco refused to surrender. Late in the match, defender Walid Regragui received 2 yellow cards and was sent off. Now Morocco had to survive with only 10 men. The pressure became almost unbearable. Portugal attacked wave after wave, cross after cross, shot after shot. Then, the referee checked his watch, blew the final whistle, and the impossible became reality. Morocco had defeated Portugal, one of the biggest football nations in the world. They had become the first African nation in history to reach a FIFA World Cup semifinal. The celebrations were unlike anything football had ever seen. Players fell to the ground in tears. Fans sang with pride. Families embraced in the stands. Across Morocco, streets filled with celebrations that lasted long into the night. Across Africa, millions celebrated as if their own nation had won. This wasn't just Morocco's victory anymore. It had become a victory that inspired an entire continent. But despite all the celebrations, one final mountain still stood before them: the defending world champions, France. Could the greatest underdog story in World Cup history continue one more time? Or had Morocco already achieved the impossible? That answer would change football history forever. Only 4 teams remained: Argentina, France, Croatia, and Morocco. Just weeks earlier, almost nobody had imagined Morocco would still be standing. Now they were only one victory away from reaching the FIFA World Cup final. Waiting for them was the defending world champion, France, a squad filled with world-class stars: Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, Olivier Giroud, Aurélien Tchouameni, Theo Hernandez. France had been here before. They knew what it took to win on football's biggest stage. Morocco, on the other hand, was making history with every step. But one major challenge threatened their dream. Throughout the tournament, several Moroccan players had picked up injuries. Key defenders were struggling to recover, and fatigue was beginning to show after weeks of relentless football. Still, no one in the Moroccan camp was thinking about excuses. For them, this wasn't just another match. It was a chance to inspire generations. The match began in the worst possible way. Only 5 minutes had passed when Theo Hernandez scored for France. For the first time in the knockout stage, Morocco found themselves trailing. Many teams would have fallen apart. Morocco didn't. Instead of losing confidence, they pushed forward with courage. They attacked. They created chances. They forced France to defend. The football world watched in disbelief. The underdogs weren't hiding. They were taking the game to the reigning world champions. One of the most unforgettable moments came when Jawad El Yamak attempted a spectacular bicycle kick. For a split second, it looked destined for the top corner. The ball struck the post. The entire stadium gasped. Football can change on moments like these. Had that shot gone in, history might have taken a different path. As Morocco chased an equalizer, France found space on the counterattack. Late in the second half, substitute Randall Kolo Muani scored France's second goal. The scoreboard now read 2-0. The dream of reaching the World Cup final was over. When the referee blew the final whistle, Moroccan players collapsed onto the pitch. Some covered their faces. Some stared into the sky. Some simply sat in silence. But what happened next showed why this team had captured the hearts of millions. Instead of leaving quietly, the supporters stood and applauded. Not for winning, but for believing, for fighting, for making history. Asterisk. Morocco still had one match left. The third-place playoff against Croatia. Many teams struggled to find motivation after losing a semi-final. But Morocco wanted to finish their incredible journey with pride. Croatia struck first. Morocco responded almost immediately through Achraf Hakimi. The match remained open, fast, and entertaining. Eventually, Croatia found another goal and won 2-1. Officially, Morocco finished fourth. But numbers alone could never explain what this tournament truly meant. Because something much bigger had happened. By the end of the tournament, Morocco had achieved something no African nation had ever done before. They became the first African team to reach a FIFA World Cup semi-final. They also became the first Arab nation to achieve the same milestone. Along the way, they defeated Belgium. They eliminated Spain. They knocked out Portugal. They conceded only one goal to an opposing player before the semi-final. Their defensive discipline amazed coaches around the world. Their teamwork became a lesson in modern football. And Walid Regragui, appointed only months before the tournament, became one of football's most admired managers. But perhaps the greatest story wasn't about tactics. It wasn't about statistics. It was about belief. Millions of children across Morocco suddenly saw something they had never seen before. A team wearing their colors competing with the very best. Across Africa, young footballers realized that reaching the final stages of a World Cup wasn't just a dream anymore. It was possible. The Atlas Lions had broken a barrier that had stood for decades. They proved that organization could defeat reputation, that teamwork could overcome individual stars, and that courage could challenge history itself. Football fans around the world, even those with no connection to Morocco, found themselves cheering for the Atlas Lions. Because everyone loves an underdog, especially one that refuses to surrender. Years from now, football fans may forget individual scores. They may forget who scored every goal, but they will remember how Morocco made them feel. They reminded the world why the FIFA World Cup is unlike any other tournament. It's not only about trophies. It's about hope. It's about impossible dreams becoming reality. It's about nations writing history against all odds. Every tournament produces heroes. Very few produce legends. Morocco became a legend. Their journey inspired documentaries, books, and conversations across the globe. Their players returned home as national heroes. Millions lined the streets to celebrate them. Not because they won the World Cup, but because they changed what people believed was possible. Sometimes, the greatest victories aren't measured by medals. They're measured by the lives they inspire. When the 2022 FIFA World Cup began, Morocco was expected to go home quietly. Instead, they left behind one of the greatest underdog stories football has ever witnessed. They united a nation, inspired a continent, earned the respect of the world, and reminded every football fan that on the biggest stage, Belief can be stronger than reputation. Years from now, whenever people talk about the greatest World Cup surprises in history, one name will always be mentioned: Morocco. Because they didn't just shock the world. They changed football history forever.